Hey everyone, Martin.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Whoops. Reused joke. Anyways, yeah. Over 1 year ago, I made a list of my top 10 Super Smash Bros. Fighters. And with the first Fighters Pass for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate having been completed, and the next wave to come within the next 2 years, I felt like I should talk about the new fighters who joined the fray. Yep, I'm here to talk about my list of my top 10 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate newcomers. And just to make a few things clear. Number 1, any new echoes for old fighters will not be counted. So Chrom, Dark Samus, Daisy, and Ken won't be counted for this list. 2, this is based on my personal time with these newcomers, so tier lists and how much I was excited for them to be in will not be taken into question. However, I will be going into how each fighter is mechanically, and a bit more in depth compared to last time. 3, and this one's a bit of a disclaimer, but since there are only 12 newcomers so far, I won't be doing an honorable mentions part to keep number 1 more of a surprise. Cool? Cool. Also, since the roster for Fighters Pass Volume 2 has already been decided, leave your guesses for who will appear in the comments below. With all that out of the way, let's get started.
Battle it in Smash.
Probably the most anticipated fighter of the newcomers, we have the famous duo of Banjo and Kazooie. And they're sitting at number 10. Well, I did say that my excitement for each character wasn't a factor for placement. How they play and how much I like playing as them was the big factor. And I can say that they are fun to play as, but they're just not the type of character for me. They're fairly melee based given all the normal and special attacks, but they do have a fair amount of projectile coverage with the specials. The neutral special egg firing for a basic projectile, but can become mobile by holding down the special button to turn it into the Breagle Blaster. Their down special, rear egg, sends out a bomb item sent behind them, but can only have one out at a time, as well as being able to be picked up and thrown back at them. And technically their up special, the Shock Spring Jump, counts as well, since the jump pad acts similar to Sonic's Spring Jump, but it can also be charged for a bit to go higher than normal. The exception being the side special, the Wonder Wing, which gives invincibility, but only has 5 uses per stock. Then we got the final smash, the Mighty Ginginator, which catches an opponent in front of Banjo and Kazooie to deal some damage against the other fighter. This dynamic duo is certainly a good fighter, fun to play as, and a welcome addition to the Smash roster.
Banjo and Kazooie win!
Battle it in Smash.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
Reps for the Castlevania series, Simon and Richter Belmont take my number 9 spot. While it was semi-expected with the accidental music release, that didn't detract the excitement for the addition of not 1, but 2 fighters from the series. And with how these 2 play, they really are special fighters. The unique thing that they both have is their whip, Vampire Killer, which has a sweet spot being at the end of the whip, obviously. But it can also be used as a tether to grab edges with their air attack. And speaking of attacks, let's go over their specials. Great segue, I know. Their neutral special, Axe, has them throw, well, an axe, which is sent in a set trajectory with a bit of startup time, but does a lot of damage and knockback against the opponent. Their side special, Cross, has them send out, well, a cross, which acts like a boomerang but flies in a straight path and can only throw out 1 at a time. Their up special, Uppercut, has them fly in their jetpack into orbit and can burn opponents caught below them. No, you idiot, they do an uppercut! Which doesn't travel a good distance and is better used as an attack than recovery. Their down special, Holy Water, has them throw a bottle which erupts into a pillar of flames, but only 1 can be on the field at a time. But there's actually a difference between Simon and Richter with this attack. Simon's Holy Water does fire damage, while Richter's Holy Water does aura damage, similar to Lucario's attacks, minus the damage increase based on percentage. Lastly, their final smash, Grand Cross, which traps opponent in the coffin to attack them with magic crosses made of light before sending them flying. The Belmonts are good fighters, fun to play as every so often, and great additions to the Smash roster.
Battle it in Smash.
So, a pirate, a mad doctor, a boxer, a singer, and a king get invited into Smash. The King Croc from the Donkey Kong Country series, the big bad himself, King K. Rool, takes my number 8 spot. King K. Rool was a very hyped addition to the roster, being one of the most voted for during the Smash ballot. And with everything given to us in the final game, he's certainly a faithful adaptation from the DKC games. One unique thing for him is his belly plate, which has its own super armor effect with it, where he can power through most attacks as well as halving the damage done to him. But that's not the only thing going for K. Rool, so let's go over the moves. His neutral special, Blunderbuss, has him shoot out a cannonball wearing a pirate hat like he did in DKC2. While it only shoots one cannonball, it also has a vacuum feature to suck up something and fire it either upwards in front of him or behind him. His side special, Crowner Rain, has him throw his crown like a boomerang, like the name implies, but can possibly drop mid-flight and be picked up by other fighters to throw back at him. His up special, Propeller Pack, has him don his pack from DKC3 to fly a good amount of distance, especially for a heavyweight. The propellers can actually do a little bit of damage if they hit another fighter too. His down special, Gut Check, yes, that's the actual name, has him puff out his belly and act as a counter or reflector for attacks, but is vulnerable from the top and behind him. Lastly, his final smash, Blast-O-Matic, has him rush forward to capture opponents to blast them on DK Island, which is actually the first time this was shown as it was only implied in DK64. King K. Rool is a great fighter, one of the best in terms of fan service, and a very welcome addition to the Smash roster.
King K. Rool wins!
Battle it in Smash.
So, you want to fight fire with fire, huh?
The newest Pokemon to make it into Smash, the Wrestler Pokemon,
John Cena!
The Heal Pokemon, Incineroar, takes my number 7 spot. Incineroar was a fairly surprising addition to Smash, given the leak that was sent out, but is still a good fighter in the Smash roster. Being a wrestler, his throws do more damage when compared to other fighters, and he also poses after certain attacks, which adds a crowd cheering sound. He's also one of 4 fighters to take damage in water, since he's a fire type. Now, let's move on to the special moves. His neutral special, Darkest Lariat, is a spinning move that can hit multiple times and reflect weak projectiles, as well as move around slowly while performing the move. His side special, Alolan Whip, has him grab opponents and fling them into some wrestling ropes to attack him in 3 different ways, depending on when the attack or special button is pressed. His up special, Cross Chop, has him rise into the air before descending back down at an angle, but at the cost of being a bit of a suicidal recovery move. Think Ike or Crom's up special. His down special, Revenge, is a counter move which powers up his next attack, be it a smash attack or one of his other special moves. Lastly, his final smash, Max Malicious Moonsault, has him rush forward to grab an opponent to send him against the ropes, hit him into the air, and send him back down with a diving battering ram, ending with an explosion. Incineroar is a great addition from the world of Pokemon, and one I'm happy to have been added to the Smash roster.
Incineroar wins!
Battle it in Smash.
You know what I need? The second Square Enix character to be a DLC fighter in Smash, Hero from Dragon Quest XI, and Dragon Quest III, and also Dragon Quest IV, and also Dragon Quest VIII, takes my number 6 spot. They were another fairly surprising fighter to be added to the Smash roster, as they not only have the random critical hit, which increases the knockback of moves, Hero has a surprisingly large special moveset, and each of the specials can be more powerful based on how much magic you have in the MP bar. Their up special, the variations of Whoosh, sends Hero up via Tornado, which gets bigger the longer it's charged, and can hit opponents into the air. Their neutral special, the variations of Frizz, has Hero charge up a fireball attack to send at their opponents. The longer the charge, the larger the fireball. Their side special, the variations of Zap, has Hero charge up a lightning spell. The first 2 stages are a basic lightning bolt set in front of them, but at the full charge has him do a large slash around him, which has a lot of KO potential. And now we get to the down special, the command selection. This is where the large moveset comes into play. This gives you a random set of 4 attacks that you can choose from that have different effects. Gonna go through each of the attacks real quick.
Oomph increases Hero's attack, but they also take more damage. Snooze sends out a projectile that puts opponents to sleep, but can be blocked as well as having a short sleep time at long range. Bounce as a reflector on Hero, akin to wearing a Franklin badge. Flame Slash, basic sword slash with added flames. Crackle Slash, a not so basic sword slash, which can freeze opponents. Clang turns Hero's body metal to take no damage, but can't move in this state, can be KO'd by an attack gone over later, or a well-timed attack for when it ends. Zoom has Hero stepped up into the sky and falls back down on a random part of the stage, but it doesn't really work well if there's a ceiling above them. Kamikaze, a charged explosion move that can't be blocked and does up to 50 damage with a lot of knockback, but also KOs Hero in the process. Sizz, a small basic flame projectile. Sizzle, a faster, higher damaging version of Sizz. Psych Up increases damage and knockback dealt by Hero, including the throw moves, but projectiles are not counted in the increase. Heal, basic healing move, but after being used twice, it can't be used again until Hero gets a KO or gets KO'd. Accelerate increases speed enough to outrun Sonic, but they also take increased knockback. Bang, a small explosion projectile that explodes on contact or after a set distance. Kaboom, a more powerful version of Bang, simple enough. Hatchet Man, a powerful downward slash move that deals a lot of damage but has a long startup time. Whack, a small projectile that has a chance of instantly KOing the opponent. Higher the damage, higher chance of the KO. Thwack, a close range version of Whack with a higher chance to KO opponents but has a long startup. Metal Slash, a sword slash that can instantly KO any metal opponents, including other heroes using Kerclang. Hocus Pocus, adds a random effect to hero or uses another attack from the command selection. I'll put a list of effects on screen now. Magic Burst, a large blast that can use all the magic that hero has, akin to a smart bomb, but can be hit out of the attack.
Whew! Okay, now to close it off, we have their final smash, Giga Slash, which has the hero summon other Dragon Quest heroes to perform a large slash to KO the opponent. Hero is a fighter that takes a lot to get a hang of, especially with the randomness of the critical hit and command selection, but when you get it down, they're truly a force to be reckoned with.
Hero wins!
Settle it in Smash.
Go back to the 90s. Who's next?
Me!
The fifth combatant from the Combat Pack, the Joker from DC Comics. The first newcomer from the Fighters Pass, Joker from Persona 5, takes my number 5 spot. With his reveal at the Game Awards 2018, this sparked everyone's excitement to see who else would come next. But the first one we got is certainly one heck of a fighter. Let's start with the specials. His side special, Iha, only does a little damage, but also does some damage over time. His up special, Grappling Hook, works like a tether recovery similar to other whip weapons used by other characters, and can also be used to grab opponents who are above him. And, say it with me, for his neutral special, he wields a gun. He fires it at a constant rate in front of him, can move forwards or backwards to get in close, or can move up to rain damage from above. Lastly, his down special, Rebel's Guard, acts similar to a counter, taking less damage to fill up the Rebellion gauge. Fill that all the way up, and he summons his persona, Arsene. This adds more damage done with normal moves, but also changes his special moves around too. His side special turns into Aegon, which does more damage, lasts longer, and has an area of effect when it hits. His up special turns into the Wings of Rebellion, which has one of the highest recoveries in the game, has intangibility, but at the cost of no hitbox. And his neutral special turns into Gun Special, which fires faster, farther, and does more damage against the opponent. His down special turns into an actual counter, which differs depending if it's countering a melee or projectile attack. For melee moves, it turns into Tetrakarn, and for projectiles, it turns into Makarakarn. All of this, of course, is limited to how much the Rebellion gauge is filled until it's empty. While it does diminish over time, taking a lot of damage can lessen the gauge faster. When it's empty, it goes back to his normal moveset. Then we have his final smash, the All-Out Attack, which can KO fighters if they get over 100%, and can even end the match on that screen like the actual game. Gotta love details like that. Joker is a really fun character to play, and a great first character for the first Fighters Pass. Keep looking cool, Joker.
Smash is looking cool, eh, Joker?
Settle it in Smash.
Are you okay?
Hey, come on, come on!
The DLC character from another fighting game, Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury, takes my number 4 spot. Terry wasn't a huge surprise thanks to the little SNK leak, but he's still a cool addition to the Smash roster. Similar to Ryu and Ken, he faces his opponent in a one-on-one match, has light and heavy inputs, and has the original command inputs from the game for a more powerful version of the attack. His neutral special, Power Wave, has him send out a shockwave across the ground or in front of him in the air. The longer the button is held, the more damage it does. His up special, Rising Tackle, has him spin kick into the air to do some damage, and the damage is based on how long you hold the button, as well as the input of holding down before doing the attack. His down special, Power Dunk, has him jump into the air to perform a downward explosive strike that has an additional meteor effect to it. There's also the same command input damage increase as before. His forward special, Burning Knuckle, has him lunge at the opponent. The same held button and command inputs apply here, but with a bit of more visual effect of a small green flame in the attack. His back special, Crack Shoot, has him do a spinning heel kick at the opponent. The same held button and command input damage increase applies here as well. His final smash, Triple Wolf, has him start with a triple power geyser, followed by a cutscene of him doing a power dunk and ending on a Buster Wolf. And speaking of that, Terry actually has super special moves when he's at a high damage, of which of course can be used by specific command inputs. By doing this motion, he does Power Geyser, which sends a large burst of energy to send almost any opponent flying. And by doing this motion, he does Buster Wolf, which has him slide across the stage to try and connect with an opponent. If successful, it can KO almost any fighter, even ones at low percentages. Terry is one hard character to get a hang of, but one hell of a good fighter once you do. Definitely top 5 material.
Terry wins.
Okay!
Settle it in Smash.
Reach for my hand, I'll soar away into the dawn. Oh, I wish I could stay here in cherished halls, in peaceful days. I feel the edge of dawn, knowing time betrays.
The final DLC character for the first Fighter's Pass, Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses, coincidentally takes my number 3 spot.
Oh, yeah, this is what Smash needs, right? Another sword fight. No! None of that. They still operate differently in terms of mechanics, so shut up!
And that's my reaction to those with that mindset towards Byleth. Anyways, onto Byleth themselves. They're a pretty good fighter with a lot of diversity for being another sword fighter, and it's thanks to the special weapons at their disposal. Their neutral air and neutral special is the weapon Fail Not, which acts as a chargeable projectile that can be sent across a large distance, with the drawback being that you can't cancel out of it at full charge. Their side attacks and side special is the weapon Arid Far, a moving slash attack that has a wider range both horizontally and vertically, even in the air, with the slight drawback of having a tipper mechanic similar to Marth and Roy, with the tip of the blade doing the most damage compared to the rest of the weapon. Their down moves and down special is the weapon Amir, which acts as a super powerful attack that does a lot of damage, grants super armor, can break shields, and can even be reversed like the Falcon Punch, but it has the drawback of having a large startup time. Their up moves, basic attack, and up special is the Sword of the Creator, which can grab opponents above them and footstools them below them while bringing themselves upward. It also acts like a tether to grab onto ledges from afar, similar to the Belmont's Whip or Joker's grappling hook. Lastly, their final smash, Progenitor God Rapture Heaven, which can trap up to 3 opponents before landing some damage and sending them flying into the blast zone. But with all this power, they're fairly slow at moving around, but I think it's a good trade-off. Of course, there's the costumes. Similar to the Pokemon Trainer, Robin, and Corrin before them, Byleth has 4 costumes split between male and female, of which being their default looks, Dimitri and Claude for the male version, Eldgard and Sothis for the female version, and these last 2 which apparently are spoilers for the actual game, and I haven't played it. So that's for you to know and me to not worry about. Byleth is a great addition to the Smash roster, and a good fighter to hold us over until the next one is released. They may have disappointed some fans, but we still have 6 more to go. So quit your whining.
Each battle a chance to grow.
Settle it in Smash.
Did someone say piranha plants?
The very first DLC fighter for Ultimate, and the very surprising addition, Piranha Plant from the Super Mario series, takes my number 2 spot. While some were wishing for another certain Mario character, I was completely fine with the simple enemy fighter we got in the form of a potted plant. And they're actually a pretty versatile fighter. Their neutral special, Pitsui, has them spit up a spike ball into the air with the option of sending it either left or right. And it has a lot of KOing potential if you get the hit just right, but it does have a cooldown that can leave you open to attacks if you try to spam it. Their side special, Poison Breath, has them change colors to that of a putrid piranha to charge up a cloud of poisonous gas that can deal a good amount of damage if it gets every hit, but it can be shielded, reflected, or countered. Their up special, Piranha Copter, has them fly into the air by spinning their leaves like a, well, helicopter. It does continuous small damage against the opponent and can easily KO them if they're near the blast zone, but it can be hit from the top to cancel it and leave them open. Their down special, Long Stem Strike, has them retreat into their pot/pipe to charge up a long-range biting attack, which can be moved either left or right to get opponents on the side. And while the pot has super armor, Piranha Plant does not, and can be hit out of the attack if timed right. Lastly, their final smash has them summon PD Piranha with a familiar set of cages to trap opponents, burn them, and send them flying with one large slam into the ground. Piranha Plant is a really fun fighter to play as, and really opens the door to other normal enemies that can possibly enter the fray. But one fighter beat it for first place.
Piranha Plant wins!
Battle it in Smash.
The very first newcomer to be announced for Ultimate, as well as my current favorite newcomer, Inkling from Splatoon, takes my #1 spot. Yeah, over a year later, and I still really like this Squiddo. And I can say that I have gotten better playing as them. They have some weapons to use for smash attacks like the Slosher, Blaster, and the Ink Brush, but there are more options with the specials they have. There's a Splat Bomb for the down special, which can be controlled how far and how much damage it does based on how long you charge it. The Splat Roller for the side special, which can slow down opponents from the ink on the ground and can even bury them. The Super Jump for an up special, which has a lot of recovery and does minor damage at the cost of being a bit linear. Then there's a Splatter Shot for the neutral special, which covers the opponent in ink. And the more ink that's on the opponent, the more damage that can be dealt onto them. Then there's the final smash, the Killer Whale, which can trap opponents in the beam before sending them flying. And aside from the costumes having their own references, I like all the minor bits that reference the actual game. Like when the Smash Ball is active, their heads glow like they have a fully charged special. Or how in stamina matches, they have a little ghost squid animation like they got splatted. And, of course, they take gradual damage when in water. With all these things, big and small, Inkling definitely earned a spot of my favorite Super Smash Bros. Ultimate newcomer. Unless a fighter from the second Fighters Pass can change that, but we'll get there when we get there.
Inkling wins!
And that's my list. Hope you enjoyed. Have your own opinion? Leave your list and your predictions for Fighters Pass 2 in the comments below. And until next time, see ya!